My med. Hey, how are you?
On the air now.
Okay.
What did you do?
I don't know. All right, yes, folks. Wait, hold on. All right, folks, it's time for the Fun and Garden Show on Radio St. George 100.3. Hey, everybody, it's Woody, star of the Fun and Garden Show.
Hey, how are you, Artie?
I'm doing really good.
Yeah, you look good today. Oh man, you look great.
I'm feeling great, and you do too. You look awesome, and
I know.
we're here for another exciting edition of the Fun Garden Show on Radio St. George 100.3.
I can tell you it's not easy to look this good.
Hey, should we change the name of the show to Fun Garden Show and, get rid of the and?
How about
Fun Garden Show. The E can be silent.
Artie's Halloween Carnival?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, folks, this is the Fun and Garden Show on Radio St. George 100.3, and we're live on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube, and you can get past shows at funandgarden.com.
And our website, funandgarden.com, has a brand new picture that I put on last night
Oh, okay.
of the original Elvis,
The original Elvis. Oh, right.
the real one.
And find out
Yeah.
find out what he's talking about.
Yeah, the original Elvis and Harvey, his replacement,
Oh.
are on the same page.
And folks, you can call or text us a question or comment to 535-879-4100, 435-879-4100. And, we want to thank everyone that's contributed so far. And most importantly, we want to thank Sean Denovan for letting us be a part of his radio station.
Yeah. And
We're not messing up too bad, are we?
I don't know. I haven't received my weekly check yet in the mail.
We're volunteers.
Oh, we are?
There's no money.
Oh, well, that's the reason. I didn't know that.
Now, before we get started with the Fun Garden Show,
Yeah.
do you like the N or and? I like it silent. N, the Fun Garden Show.
Fun.
Before we get started, today we're going to talk about current events, or actually, fun stuff to do in St. George. in Southern
Activities.
Utah. There we go.
Activities
That's
in
what I meant to
southern
say.
Utah.
And before we get started, I have an incredible activity or event that someone can attend.
Really?
Yep. It is, people can actually go to Bluff, and on Bluff, there is the last remaining Kmart in the state that's going to be closed here soon.
I didn't know that.
Yep. It's the very last Kmart
All
in
the
Utah.
rest are gone?
All the rest are gone.
And when's that one going?
I think I think November or December. So people only have, a couple more months to go and check out the very last Kmart. I'm going to go and take pictures. I'm going to take a whole bunch of selfies with my smartphone. I'm going to stream live to relatives so they can, see the last remaining Kmart. And it's awesome.
If I come over and I get that little cart with the light, can we have a blue light special?
Blue light special, heck yeah! Oh, I'm gonna get a selfie with the blue light because that's gonna be gone. I mean,
I can remember when I was younger and they had one where we lived in Salt Lake, and we were so excited if they had the blue light special while we were shopping.
and you went running.
We went running, and we'd go over there and buy kids' clothes or shoes or whatever we needed. Yeah.
Do you remember the Kmart cafeteria?
Yeah.
They had some sandwiches. They had a whole, hot plate of food.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm gonna cry.
Are you?
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually going to I'm gonna chain myself to one of the pillars or one of the display stands in
Wait
Kmart.
a minute.
And-
I thought it was cats you were into. Now you're a Kmart's
I'm into failing department stores.
groupie.
I'm trying to grasp onto the past and hold on.
The future is everybody orders from Amazon. That's it.
But they can't take my Kmart away.
Oh. Well, Kmart, when my kids were growing up, we did a lot of shopping at
I
Kmart
know.
because we needed to, save money.
And you know what I did? There's hardly anyone there at Kmart, because Walmart and Amazon, like you mentioned, has taken over. You know what? There's no one there at Kmart. I actually walked from one end of Kmart to the other in my boxer shorts, and no one saw me. I actually did that.
I think they saw you, Artie. They just didn't want to say anything.
Okay, so that's my
now, if you can do that in your Speedo, then we've got something.
So that is my idea as far as what to do here in Southern Utah, what to do here in St. George.
Speedo and Kmart.
It's Speedo and Kmart, or at least visit and pay tribute. Maybe get some flowers and put at the front entrance of Kmart to pay tribute to the very last Kmart in Utah. So,
oh boy!
All right, I had to put that out there. I had to tell the audience.
I was just thinking how we could combine the closing of Kmart with your cat business.
With my cat business,
maybe put a bunch of them in there when they close it.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Do you know the Star Nursery has a cat at every nursery?
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
It's a tradition.
Well, I've seen the one at the old mill, and he's lazier than ever. And I guess he doesn't have he's old. He's so old that he can't jump up on the counter. So they put a little basket for him to lay in on the floor in the corner.
Poor baby. There's a candidate for warehouse cat of Kmart.
Well, but you know what? Those cats are spoiled over there.
They have one or two at every store.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Spoiled rotten.
Yep.
Well, what are we going to talk about today on the show besides Kmart? I guess, stuff to do here in Southern Utah, right?
Right. We're going to continue our program that we started last week because we have so many people in town.
Oh my gosh.
They're everywhere.
It's really hard to get around.
I mean, my neighbor and I went over, not last night, the night before, and watched some ball games over at the Bloomington Park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we sat there and in our little lawn chairs and watched a couple of ball games. It was, under the lights at night, and it was cool. And
yeah, did you participate in any ball games at
well,
all?
we cheered. It was kind of fun. It really was.
Huh.
One team was from Magna up in Salt Lake, and the other team was from Istanbul.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they were the Kurd international team from Istanbul.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's cool.
No, you didn't even catch on to that.
I'm just seeing if our Facebook Live, I'm not paying attention to what you're doing. I'll be honest with you. I'm holding up my smartphone to make sure that the Facebook stream is running.
Are we on there?
Yeah, we are. We're
there?
on. Okay, so they're not from Istanbul. Where they're from?
They were the Kurds from Syria.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right.
They had a ball team.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's lots of things going on. There's baseball tournaments here in town.
There's baseball, there's basketball, there's
Probably football too.
tennis.
Tennis.
There's pickleball.
Oh, okay.
I like cheese with my pickles. There's pickleball, and there's chess tournaments. There's about anything you can think of.
Now, tell us about pickleball. What is pickleball?
Pickleball is you're asking somebody that's never played it.
I guess it's a form of tennis.
It's tennis with a wiffle ball.
With a waffle iron?
With one of those balls that has holes in.
Oh, yeah.
So when you hit it, it doesn't go very far.
Okay.
So that's the pickleball. And I think they usually play two people on each side.
Mm-hmm.
and some of them have walkers and canes, and other ones are, but it's a slower game, and usually older people that play it. But they love it. It's very popular.
Pickleball was named after
Mr. Pickle.
Barney McCollum's dog, Pickles. So it's named after a dog named Pickles.
A dog, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
So that's kind of fun.
Boy, that's neat to know.
Okay, so what else? People
anyway,
are here, checking out the pickleball. They're checking out the basketball and the baseball tournaments.
And in between, they go to Walmart and all the stores and just take everything off the shelves and buy it. I would imagine that this is a great 2 weeks if you're a merchant.
Oh, absolutely.
Or a motel owner,
And I went into TJ Maxx the other day, actually yesterday, and there was a long freaking line.
Yeah.
I mean, it was wrapped around, a couple of
my wife had the
display
same
cases.
experience at the dollar store.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were lined up for from here to breakfast. And, it's people in town that are.
Well, give folks an idea of what they can do here in Southern Utah.
What
since
they
they're
can
visiting.
do, well, they can go play pickleball, and they can go over to the dollar store. Let's see. We're going to talk about some drives that you can take,
Okay.
and they're really enjoyable. Some of them take. I'm going to try to give you an idea of how long they take. The one I wanted to talk about first is you can go up the freeway and get off at Highway 9. That's the highway that goes to Hurricane. And you go over to Hurricane, and you go to the main intersection where the little museum is, their city museum.
Yeah.
And you make a right turn, and you go a block, and you make a left turn, and then you're going up the side of the mountain toward Colorado City.
Very scenic drive.
Yeah, very scenic. So you kind of wind up there, and as you travel along there, you come to a place called Apple Valley.
That's beautiful out there.
Yeah, it is. It's really beautiful. There's the Vermilion Cliffs along there. There's a plateau. That's the area a little farther to the east where they released the California condors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was reading an article in the paper the other day. Those are, they just had a chick that was successful, a nest up in Zions, and the chick fledged the other day.
It did.
So they think, they're thinking that they have 200 to 300 of those, in the world. So there was a time when they were down to 30 or 40.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's good.
Wow.
Yeah, they're a big bird. Have you ever seen one of those in the wild?
Oh, yeah.
We were over to the North Rim one time, my wife and I. We were staying over there for our wedding anniversary, and they come where they're people, and that's one of the things they don't want them to do. But they come and kind of bag garbage off of you and stuff. But this thing, we came walking out of our cabin and walked down the sidewalk toward the main part of the hotel, and this thing stood about 4 feet tall, and it had a tag on its wing, with a number, so you know it's one of those.
Wow.
And it just stood there and looked at us and was waiting to beg and get something to eat, and it's impressive. It's almost scary how big they are.
So check out the birds in Apple Valley.
Yeah.
Going
So,
bird watch.
Anyway, so you go along there toward you're going through Apple Valley, and you're going toward Colorado City, and you'll see a dirt road that goes off to your left.
Okay.
And I think it says Scenic Byway.
Mm-hmm.
And that road have you ever taken that road, Artie?
I haven't.
Okay.
Nope.
That road goes across that valley and up into the mountains, and it climbs up by mountain, I don't mean like the Alps or something, but it's a lower type mountain, maybe 600-700 feet high. But anyway, it climbs up there. And when you get up to the summit of the drive, the highest point, you can see behind you all the way across the Arizona Strip.
Oh, wow.
And ahead of you, you can see Zion's Canyon.
Oh, you can?
Yeah. And you're looking down on Virgin and Springdale, and you see all of that from up there. It's amazing view. And then if you go down and wind around and keep going on that dirt road, you come out in Virgin on that bridge road, and you hit the highway that goes over to Zion's.
So it's kind of a shortcut.
Well, it's a shortcut depending on where you're coming from. It would be a shortcut if you were coming from Kanab and going to Zion's.
Okay.
But it really is something, and I've never done it that I've seen more than one or two cars on that road. And like I say, it's a dirt road, but it's not a bad dirt road. They take pretty good care of it. And it's
not going to beat up your car.
No. It's called the Zion Park Scenic Byway.
Wow.
And it's really pretty up there. And I would say you're looking at a round trip of about, if you left St. George, went on the byway, and then instead of going to Zion's, if you came back towards St. George, you're probably looking at about 4 hours. And along the way, there's a lot of places you can stop and eat and those kind of things.
Sounds awesome.
And you'll see up on the top in that in-between area between Zion's and Colorado City, there's a few homes built up there, and there's a few big homes built up there.
Wow.
Where that view is. I mean, like millionaire-type homes, like you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's one of the drives I wanted to talk about, and that's pretty neat. It really is. There's some things that are kind of interesting. If you go over to Hurricane and continue on Highway 9 to go to Zion's, you go down and you cross the bridge, the bridge that goes over by Paw Tempe Springs.
Okay.
There was one old iron bridge there, and then they just put a new one on the other side for some of the traffic because the iron bridge was getting a little bit old. That bridge was the bridge that the story is that when they were filming one of the early James Bond shows, that there was a biplane in the show that flew under that bridge.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and it's in the movie. So anyway, you go past that and you come to an intersection in Lavercan that turns and goes east up on the plateau towards Zion's, right? And so you go up there and you kind of come out on top and you wind along there through it's a very deserty kind of place. If you look to your left, there's a big plateau up on top there. Have you ever noticed a trailer up there that hangs over the edge of the plateau?
No.
Yeah. That plateau, back in the 1950s, that was, I don't know if you're probably too young, but when we used to go to shows on Saturday afternoon, that plateau, they had a rocket sled up there.
Oh, wow.
And it was one of the first things they ever did toward the space program. And they would take these.
Oh, I've heard about this.
They would take those
monkeys.
Yeah, test pilots, and they would strap them in this rocket sled, and it actually had a small jet motor on it. And it was on rails, and they would shoot them down those rails, and they'd get up to, 100, 150 miles an hour. And they had a camera that would take a picture of their face, and their skin would, fold back. And
now, are the tracks still there?
The tracks are still there.
No kidding.
And it would go from one end of that plateau to the other. I don't know for sure how long it was.
Wow.
200 or 300 yards.
It was a part of our space program.
Yeah.
Is it all protected? Is there like fences around?
There is. But this trailer, they had a trailer up there that had the equipment in and was the kind of the headquarters. Mm-hmm. And when they put it in order to get more room on the plateau, the back part of the trailer hangs over the plateau. Oh. And if you look up there, you'll see this light green trailer that's, like got 20 feet that hangs over the edge.
Oh, wow.
You'll see the back side of that trailer hanging there. Huh. And if you get on the road and you drive up there, there's a big gate across there that they won't let you in. It's government property.
Wow. I've heard about that.
But it's kind of a neat place, and they've got, a weather station up there and instruments that measure wind and, all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of it's just one of those stories.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Huh. And let's see, one of the other stories, if you're going along that same highway, and if you go to your right instead of looking to your left at the plateau, if you go to the right, there's some roads that go over to the Virgin River.
Okay.
And you can drive. You get over to the kind of the I want to say canyon, but it's more like a draw, and you go down and there's an area down there where you can park and get out and look at the Virgin River. But way back in pioneer days, the folks from Hurricane needed irrigation water. Mm-hmm. And they dug an irrigation canal that went from that area all the way over into Hurricane and down the side of that mountain to irrigate the orchards and the things in Hurricane. And they got it all done. And, of course, now I'm not making fun of them because I could easily make this mistake, but they got it all done and turned the water into it, and it wouldn't flow because it was going uphill instead of down.
Oh, wow.
They had, back in, 1870, there wasn't, fancy scientific equipment to measure that kind of thing. So they had to go back and dig it down to get it to slope towards the town. And but all that, and I think it took, a number of years to dig. And the fellows would go up there in the evening and Saturdays and weekends and that and dig on this irrigation canal. And it was all done by hand, pick and shovel.
Wow.
And that's pretty well rock. It's not dirt, it's rock.
So you can go look at that.
Yeah.
Check that out.
It's kind of an interesting story. Mm-hmm. So, and then if you go on over, toward Zion's, you go past that little dude ranch we talked about last week.
Yeah.
That has all the stuff there, the horses and the four-wheel drives and all that. And then you come to Virgin, and Virgin's kind of turned into a community where a lot of the folks have sold out, and they have a lot of artist studios and things in there. It's kind of neat. And then you go around the corner, and there's an orchard on the right side of the road there. They sell Gala apples, and they're really good. They have a little shack. It's not a shack, but a little teeny building. Looks like a miniature general store. Mm-hmm. And you can stop and buy apples by the pound. But the fellow that bought that and put in that orchard, he owns enough acreage there that it goes quite a ways back in, and there's a little reservoir up in the hills there that he uses for irrigation. And it's quite a valuable piece of land, being the location it is. And then you go into Springdale, and Springdale, of course, has a lot of rock shops and restaurants and motels, and you can go into town and have a nice dinner, or go on and get on the shuttle and go up to Zions Park. It's kind of interesting. I had a friend years back that it was actually her family owned some property over there. And I was talking to her about what the property was worth. And they had, instead of selling it by the half acre or the quarter acre, they started selling it by the square foot.
No.
And that's how valuable it is over there.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, if you own some, an acre over there along that main drive, you're doing pretty good. Yeah, it's really neat. So that's the kind of the road over to Springdale, and then if you go through the park and you get in the park, and there's a place, the intersection as you go over the Virgin River, and one of them goes up the canyon toward the lodge and toward the Narrows, and the other one goes up the canyon the other way to the east up into the tunnel.
Oh, okay.
And all that road and all those little bridges you come to, they were built in the early 30s by the Civilian Conservation Corps, the young men that the government paid to go out and do these improvement projects to give their families some money. And there was hundreds of them up there. And they would have camps and tents, and they would go out of a day and do projects and haul rocks and build bridges and all that.
Now, when was the tunnel built?
Well, the tunnel was built, I think, in the 30s, and I'm trying to remember how long that tunnel is. But at one time, that was the only problem is when they built it, they didn't build it real big because in those days cars and trailers were kind of small.
Oh.
And so it goes through there like a mile and a half, and it's solid rock, and it goes through from one side of the mountain to the other. And there used to be places that you could pull out and stop and look out. They had them windows. They had windows that were carved through the side of the mountain. You could look out and see the canyon, but they don't let you stop anymore in there. And it goes through, and they're going to, at some point in the future, have to enlarge that tunnel because
I imagine
a lot of vehicles can't go through there. But on the other side of the tunnel, there's some really unique areas. There's a lot of areas up in there with ponderosa pines and great big pine cones and sandstones and places you can walk and hike and have a picnic. There's one place called Checkerboard Mesa.
Oh, yeah.
That's really neat. It has these the wind and the rain has made squares on this big sandstone mountains.
Absolutely
And
incredible.
it looks like somebody, carved them on there. And anyways, you go on up there, then you go out the east entrance of the park, and you start down the canyon, and you go over to a place called Mount Carmel Junction.
Absolutely.
And Mount Carmel Junction is really beautiful.
It's so awesome through
Yeah,
there.
they have a huge mountain ahead of you that looks like it was made out of caramels. I mean, like a pile of melted caramel.
Yeah.
The color is what they're referring to, not the shape so much, but it's beautiful. And if you go right off of that T intersection, you go down toward Kanab. If you go left, then you're going back toward Panguitch and Bryce Canyon and Long Valley.
So Bryce Canyon is up that way.
And all that, yeah. So it's really neat. And if you haven't been before, you're talking, if you go over to Zions and through Zions and then down to Mount Carmel, and if you go up the canyon north, you have to come back through Cedar, over the mountain to Cedar. If you go the other way, you go to Kanab. It's a day trip. It's at least a day trip. So...
Well, what a great idea, and beautiful, beautiful scenic area. If you haven't checked out Zion's, definitely do that. And like what he said, you can go from one park to another if you want to, but I would take 2 or 3 days to do that. So
Well, and right now is when the park is empty instead of having 2 million people a day in there.
and it's a lot cooler.
And I've never been over there in the winter and the fall that you don't see deer and stuff like that down in the bottom by the Virgin River.
Awesome. Well, this is the Fun and Garden Show. Today's topic, we're talking about things to do in southern Utah, St. George, southern Utah, Kanab and Bryce Canyon and Zions Park, all that good stuff. So let's see. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to be back with some more ideas, some
When
fun
we
stuff.
come back, we'll talk about Highway 12.
Highway 12. I can't wait.
Okay.
This is the Fun and Garden Show on Radio St. George 100.3. And we're back. It's the Fun and Garden Show on Radio St. George 100.3, starring Woody and Artie.
And Artie.
Yep. And folks, we want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you have any questions, please log on to funandgarden.com and ask Harvey. Ask Harvey a question, and you can also see a picture of Elvis.
And there's some pictures of flowers over there, and
of course, Woody has posted his wife's famous chili sauce recipe.
yes.
Very cool. Oh, and rumor has it that you're going to give me some after the show today.
Oh, I don't know, Artie.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe, maybe not. Depends on if you're a good guy.
Oh, I'm excited. And let's see. Oh, we want to thank Sean Denovan here at DSU, Dixie State University, for letting us steal the airwaves and be a part of the Radio St. George 100.3 programming. So thank you
Sean's
so much.
the man.
Oh, he's so
Grand
awesome.
Poopah.
And folks, if you want to, see us on YouTube or share the show with someone on Facebook. We're on Facebook as well. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been talking this today about fun stuff to do in southern Utah.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Highway 12. I lived down here for, 10 or 15 years before Highway 12 is one of the most, do you know where Highway 12 goes,
I have
Artie?
no idea.
Okay. It's one of the most scenic highways in America.
Okay.
And you go over to 89, and that's the old highway that goes from Kanab all the way up to Provo.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you get to Panguitch, you've gone too far. When you get to Panguitch, now, first of all, from St. George, you've got to either go, the quickest way is to go up Highway 9, turn off and go to Hurricane, then go up through Zions and go out the east side of Zions and turn left and go up toward Panguitch. The other way to go is to go up to Cedar City and go over the mountain and down to Panguitch, or the other way is to go to Kanab and go north out of Kanab up to Panguitch. But either way, you've got to make it to that area, okay?
And no matter which direction you take, it's just so beautiful down
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And when
Absolutely
you get
incredible.
when you get to that area, and I think it's 8 or 10 miles south of Kanab, there's a turnoff, and the turnoff will say Bryce Canyon or Ruby's Inn.
Okay.
Okay, so then you go down that it's the I hate to bring it up, but it's the area where the other day they had that horrible bus wreck.
Oh.
On the way to Ruby's Inn.
That's where it
right
was.
there. Yeah. So-
Chinese tourist.
yeah, that was
Oh, that's horrible.
bad deal. So anyway, you go over to Ruby's Inn, and Ruby's Inn is a really unique and neat place.
Well, it's been there forever.
Yeah, well, and they've enlarged it, and they have great facilities there now. I mean, you can have everything from a conference, meetings. You can rent conference rooms. They have a great restaurant, and they have a nice motel with, 100, 150 rooms. And you can even go out to the outside area and rent a teepee to camp in. They have teepees and campsites for trailers and so on. And they have a a buffet at night in there, and actually during the day too. That's really good food. They hire a lot of the kids from their area to work over at Bryce Canyon or Ruby's and provide employment. It's a family business, and it's really well done. So anyway, when you're over there on that
Highway 12.
that Highway 12, when you're over to Ruby's, you come out, you probably stop by this time and get some lunch, or because it's going to take you a couple hours to get that far from St. George, maybe a little more. And so you stop and have some lunch, and then you come out and you go east out of Ruby's, and you come to the turnoff to Bryce Canyon.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you've ever seen Bryce or our visitors.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So you can go over there and spend the rest of the day to see Bryce. And it's a federal park, so you need to pay your way in or have a Golden Eagle pass or. But if you've seen it or you see it and you go back to Ruby's and spend the night, because by this time you've spent, if you go to Bryce's, it's going to take the rest of the day.
Wow.
Okay. So now when we went over, we have been to Bryce's another number of times, so we just kept going. We didn't go over there. And if you keep going on Highway 12, you come to Tropic,
Okay.
which is this little teeny town. And then you come to Cannonville and Henrysville. And if you keep going along there, you come to Escalante.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, there's rock formations, there's green canyons, there's creeks and so on. And when you get to Escalante, in the town, they have a place you can stop. It's got a sign that's well marked, where they have a large area that has petrified wood.
Oh, no kidding.
Great big petrified wood, logs and different things, and they have this area set aside and protected. You can't take any home, but it's an area that occurs naturally in that wood, and it's really unique to see. And Escalante is this very friendly, nice little town. They have, like a Arctic Circle kind of place, and they have a couple of little motels and some great people. They're happy to see you. And then out of Escalante, there's a scenic drive you can take that's dirt road, and they recommend you have four-wheel drive only. And it's called Hell's Backbone.
Hell's Backbone.
Yeah, not a place for the faint of heart. You go on this road, and it's very narrow, like 8 feet across.
How do you pass if someone's coming the other
that's
way?
the problem.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And this road is elevated.
Oh, boy.
So you're talking, 300 or 400 feet down on each side.
Oh, I won't go on that.
Yeah, each side of the road.
Oh, my gosh.
You're up on this ridge that goes through there, and like they say, four-wheel drive, because you have to have high clearance. It's one of those, one tire up on this rock, another tire down on that rock, that type of thing, and it takes a couple hours to go through there and make your way through, and it's gorgeous. Now, we didn't go on Hell's Backbone because my wife didn't want to go, and we didn't have four-wheel drive at the time. So we went on the regular two-lane highway, and you go up through some more beautiful country. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And you come to the little town of Boulder.
Oh, that Boulder's over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Boulder has some really neat places. We stayed at a little motel over there that has like 6 rooms to rent. and it's a little motel that's been there for 60, 70 years.
So how old is? What else is there to do in Boulder?
Well, you
it's
got
one.
you got that motel, and you've got a nice restaurant, and they have a state park that's a interactive site for Indian culture, where they have some hogans type of things, some teepees that have been restored, where they've excavated and found artifacts. And there's a whole visitor center there on the Indians that lived in the area, and exhibits that you can see. And we stayed there, and then that evening we went down to the restaurant, and they recommended a drive out of town the other direction than we were going to go, on what they call the Burr Trail.
Okay.
And the Burr Trail goes from there all the way over to Lake Powell.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it's all dirt road. And you go down this highway, this 2-lane highway that's paved, and you come to gravel. And you go down into this canyon, and we're talking a canyon that's got walls. I mean, it's only, I'm thinking maybe 50, 75 yards wide at the bottom. And it's got a dirt road, and it's got a little, I want to say, small river or creek that comes down through there. It's got willows and so on. And the walls in the canyon are sandstone, and they're maybe 400 or 500 feet high.
No kidding.
And you're down in the middle of it, and it is gorgeous. And it is pristine. This is not an area where there's been millions of tourists through. And you can go for 30, 40 miles down in there.
That far, huh?
Yeah. And now we didn't go that far. We went for about 10 miles, and it was getting dark, so we turned around and come back. But you've got to have some water, some food. You've got to have a dependable vehicle, and you've got to be aware that it's going to take you most of a day to get over to the Lake Powell. But it is really something. It's really nice.
Cool.
And it's not an area that's been seen by a lot of people. They've had a debate for years because they want to use 4-wheel or 4x4s down through there, and there's a debate between the local people that want to bring in the tourists and have that open, and the government, the federal government, that doesn't want them to tear things up down through there. Okay.
I can see both sides.
Yeah. So then we came back and stayed at the motel, had breakfast in the morning, and then we went. You start up the mountain. Boulder's at the bottom of a mountain. And you start up the mountain, and you're into an area that's very reminiscent of the Uintas up in Salt Lake.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, you'll go up to 10,000 feet in altitude, and there are lakes up in there, fishing everywhere, big pine forests. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
I mean, it's gorgeous. And campgrounds, people up there with canoes, fishing on the lakes, little lakes and big lakes and so on. And when you come to the summit, you go down the other side, and you come to an area where there's Torrey and Bicknell and Loa.
Are those
the little
cities,
areas?
or?
Yeah. No, there's not. There's towns.
Okay.
And they have some that the river comes off of that mountain and wanders down through the meadows. And they have a lot of fishing through there, and they have a lot of cabins. And these little towns will have a gas station and a restaurant, maybe a motel. And it, again, is very interesting and beautiful.
It's out of the way.
Out of
It's,
the way, yeah. And you go on through that, and if you keep going on the highway, you come out north of Richfield, and you make a left turn and go down into Richfield, and then you've got a 200-mile trip from Richfield back to St. George. So this is not a day trip. This is at least 2 days.
Say so.
And if you're going to get out of your car and spend any time, it's more than 2 days. But it is gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So that's one of the premier trips. It's not exactly St. George area, but it's something that's really well worth your time.
Great
to do.
ideas.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
It's not the typical tourist trap. It's
No.
definitely something different. So. Kinda neat.
Now when we went, there was no Dixie Escalante National Park, and right afterwards is when President Carter made that the Grand Staircase Dixie Escalante, and this Highway 12 is right on the northern edge of that, and so there might have been some changes in these little towns. I don't know. They might have grown a bit with the tourism and stuff, and that park. There's a big debate in those areas about declaring them a park and bringing tourists in, or leaving it the way it is and then having things like mining and logging and those kind of things. So there's a lot of conflict on that. So, and Richfield's an interesting place. Richfield's a neat town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's high valley. In the winter, it gets 10 degrees at night, and a nice balmy day in the winter in Richfield's maybe 30 to 40 degrees.
Wow.
And but it's a western town, a lot of cowboys. People love it there because if you fish or hunt,
Dream.
it's 5 miles and you're up in the mountains and stuff. And a lot of great people in Richfield. And it's just big enough that it has stores and restaurants and things, but it's small enough. And, they have things like dances on Saturday night. People go to the football game, the high school football games, and things like that. Deer hunt is a great big, the opening of deer hunt's really big time in that town. So
Great ideas.
Richfield's really nice place. So you folks from Richfield, you can send your money I'll give you my home address.
for plugging Richfield.
For plugging Richfield. Let's see, where else should we go? We talked about Hurricane and the Vermilion Cliffs. You know what that is, Artie?
Remind me.
Well, when you come to Apple Valley, off to your left side are this great big plateau.
Yeah, okay.
And that plateau goes for what?
Miles and
Miles, maybe 50, 75 miles, clear into Kanab. In fact, it goes through Kanab and goes almost to Page.
Oh, that far?
Yeah. The rock formation itself, the Vermilion Cliffs.
Okay.
And they're pink and orange colored. In the evening when the sun goes down, they change colors. They're beautiful.
Absolutely fantastic.
And they've got the California condors. They've got the huge bald eagles. They've got different canyons that you can explore. And the drive from Hurricane to Kanab is about 78 miles. From Kanab over to Page is another 82 miles. So you're talking about 150 miles one way.
Not too bad.
160.
That's not too bad.
And Page is a neat little town, and you can stop and see the dam, Glen Canyon Dam, and you can see the reservoir, and you can even go down in the dam and take tours. They have a visitor center there, and they have Wahweap Marina that you can go down and fish and so on. So
now, can you still cross the dam?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I know with September 11th, 9/11, I know that there was
That
an
was
issue with
Boulder.
it. Oh, okay, that's Boulder.
They built a bridge across Boulder so you don't cross the dam
okay.
because they were concerned with terrorism.
Yeah, that's horrible.
But as far as I know, why at Page you still drive across the dam. It was a little bit different than the problem at down at Boulder was the road across the dam wasn't a wide road. It was a very narrow road,
Okay.
and it left us susceptible to terrors
Oh,
and bombs.
absolutely, yeah.
But the one at Page is a wide, narrow, modern road, or not narrow, but wide, modern road. So it doesn't slow the traffic down like the
Okay.
one that, yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah. So the Vermilion Cliffs are really neat. Now, when you're driving over to Kanab, you come to a place called the Cane Beds.
Cane beds.
Yeah, have you ever seen the sign that says that?
No.
It's past Colorado City, and it's almost to the Indian reservation where Pipe Springs
Oh,
is.
okay, yeah.
And you drive back in there, and there's huge sand dunes and things where people go back there with recreational vehicles and camp and drive their four-wheelers and all that type of thing. So that's the Cane Beds. Okay, last week did we talk about Snow Canyon?
I think a little bit.
A little bit. Snow Canyon, of course, right out of town, out of St. George. You go over through Santa Clara and out to Ivans, and then you turn and go up north into Ivans and wind around, and you come to in Ivans. There's a huge mountain as a backdrop. It's called the Red Mountain
Okay.
because it's sandstone and it's red, and it's probably, I don't know, 500 feet high, 600 feet. It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous, and especially at night when the sun's going down. And tucked in a canyon to the side of the Red Mountain is Tuacahn Performing Arts,
Absolutely incredible.
where
what
they have
there.
the musicals and stuff at night. And I think they can seat maybe 400 or 500 people. And they have a stage that actually goes right back into the mountain.
Probably one of the nicest concert venues or theaters that
Yeah.
we have here in
Oh, yeah.
Utah and the whole state.
Yeah.
Whole country, probably.
Yeah, I can remember one of the first programs I went out to when it first opened. They had trying to remember what musical it was. I'm thinking it was something like Paint Your Wagon or
Something like that.
something like that. Anyway, during the show, they had a flood,
Oh, okay.
and they have a water tank up in the canyon, and at a certain time in this show, they would release a couple of 1,000 gallons of water,
Wow.
and it would come down the bottom of the canyon and come across the stage as part of the show, and all the actors and that would run and scream for their lives.
Wow.
And the water would come up to where the people were sitting and drops in a tray and is pumped back up into the
Oh,
tank.
cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's really neat. And anyway, so there's Tuacahn there, and if you continue to go, there's a visitor center, and you have to pay a fee. It's a state park, and I think it's
10 or
like
$20, something like
I
that.
think it's like used to be $7. I don't know. Either end you go into, you have to pay.
Well, Woody, we have about 2 more minutes.
Really?
Yep, 2 more minutes of the show of
Oh.
stuff to do here in southern Utah.
Okay, so anyway, in Snow Canyon, there's a lot of hikes you can take, and there's a place called the Lava Caves,
Okay.
and you can hike over. It's not on the road. You have to hike over a little ways, maybe 200-300 yards, and it's a lava formation that has a opening in it that you can go down into.
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
Okay.
Long time ago.
But I wanted to say, if you do that, wear good shoes, take a flashlight, take a bottle of water.
You probably don't want to wear shorts to that.
Yeah, I wouldn't
long
think
clothing.
so. Of course, I don't ever wear shorts a lot because my legs are so beautiful. The women chase me, you know. But the young people like to go over there and hike down in there, and it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
But there have been situations where somebody trips and gets hurt because that lava rock can be
very sharp.
Yeah, very sharp.
All right, about 60 seconds.
All right. Well, I'm sorry we didn't get through what we thought we would, but
Well, I didn't mean to rush you.
no, it's okay.
This has been a great
I
show.
feel bad, Artie.
No, don't feel bad.
Yeah, I'm through. I've had it. I'm not coming back. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? You've given us some great ideas because, you know, when you think about touring Southern Utah, you think about Zions and Bryce, and that's it. But you know,
there's hundreds of other things.
Oh, absolutely. And I love your out of the way tips and ideas, you know, to see these smaller towns and these smaller trails and smaller roads. So, yeah, great show.
Yeah, I think maybe next week we'll get back on the gardening a bit, but maybe for the first 15 minutes or so, I got 2 or 3 other little out of the way places we'll talk about. And then we'll get back to gardening.
Cool. This has been the Fun and Garden Show with Woody and Artie on Radio St. George 100.3. Log on to Fun and Garden for more information about our show and about us. And also you can stream live on Facebook and YouTube.
And you get on Facebook, hit the little like button. We like to be liked.
Absolutely. All right, Woody. Until next week.
Say la
Adios.
vie.
Adios.
See ya.
Bye-bye.